Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Shaun of the Dead here. This is a response to Sarcastic Whiteboard. It's a response to her zombie escape plan, or zombie apocalypse escape plan. It's all about your zombie apocalypse escape plan. If you've been watching my channel, you've noticed that I have something very similar on my channel, which is your zombie apocalypse plan, survival plan, or whatever. And it's all about what you want to do. And I was asking for video responses and stuff. And what kind of hypocrite would I be if I ask you to do something and I don't do it myself? So I'm doing a response video to somebody else for their channel on purpose in regards to the same topic that I'm asking you, my viewers, to do for me. Stay tuned. I should be hopefully this evening doing some gear reviews. Here's zombie apocalypse gear. So I want to be doing that hopefully at some point this evening. I'm going to try to knock out a few different videos. I've been meaning to get done, but everything is, life kind of gets in the way sometimes, and you kind of do other stuff. But I really want to get some of these out there to you guys because I know some of y'all are interested. So without further ado, my zombie apocalypse bug out plan. One of them at least. And one I'm willing to share with you. Start out with, if I can ride the wave out, I'm going to ride the wave out to a rural location where I have a lot of friends and family, tons of family, a lot of farmland, a lot of fertile soil. Place has been in the family for decades, and go out to that location. Stay around family, stay around friends, have a good network there. People know me, people know my family, so it's kind of a good starting foundation is to go to a place where you are already liked and well known, and your kinfolk is liked and well known. That's always a good plus. Aside from that, if I can take my full armament supply with me, which is my hope, but not necessarily a fact. If I'm able to load up my vehicle with all my gear, all my supplies, and I'm able to get there, then I'll be sitting really well. I can arm several people, which would be great. Some of my friends aren't as heavily armed as I am, so that would be great to be able to disperse some of the equipment around and get people ready to rock and roll. Now, with that being said, the likelihood of me getting there with all my gear is low, very, very low. Theoretically, I should cache a lot of my gear along the way on several of my bug out routes, or at least cache a lot of my stuff out at my actual bug out location. If I do something like that, then at least whenever I get there, I'll have something there, and I can just take enough with me to get me there. The only thing I'd have to take is food, water, and my combat gear that I would just be leaving with. Well, that's well and good. And that's always an option. I just haven't quite settled on that yet. Now, let's just say that the zombie apocalypse happens toot sweet, right away. Most ricky tick. I don't have time to bug out. I'm lucky if I can get home. So let's say I'm lucky enough. We're going to take the benefit of the doubt and say I'm lucky enough to get home. I live on the second story of an apartment, so I can barricade my door. Alright, so I've got a bunch of furniture and crap in front of my door. It's locked off. Nobody's getting in. Okay, I'm good. Alright, well, now I've got that. I'm going to load up my mags, I'm going to load up all my weapons, get them ready because you never know what you're going to run into or what's going to be pounding on your door. I have a balcony that overlooks where my car is at, under my carport. So I can sit up there and I can take my 22. If you watched my other video before this one, even though these are like gold right now, these are like gold, and they're really, really, really hard to find, I still have enough of them. You can get a little box, if you have a little box of 500 or whatever, that's 500 dead zombies. My apartment complex probably doesn't have but maybe 100 people that live in it, maybe 150. If there's several families that have like more than one or two people in the apartment. No, it might have up to 150 people in this generic area. If there's more than that, it could potentially be, but it's probably not over 500. So, they come in, you clear out your zombie, your mess, out to your vehicle. If I have to dangle drop off my balcony, I can do that. I could lower my gear down on ropes or 550 cord that I have. So I can lower some stuff down in bags and be ready to kind of grab bags and run, throw them in the car and take off. Now, if I'm able to, after the initial blender starts to subside, and I can get out there, clear me out some space, take my stuff, get my gear into the vehicle, and get it in the car and go, all the better. Then I'll try to get to my bug out location, one of my many routes to get there. I hope my preferred route is open because it's the most expedient route, with wider lanes of traffic. That means I can probably get around a lot easier because it's wider lanes. There's still long periods of time between each little town. So that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I want. Well, if that doesn't work out, then I have to take all these alternate plans and take these other routes. That means more gas. That means at some point I may find myself at a gas station where I can't get gas. Power's already out by now. I've looked up. For the best source of power, you're looking at 3 days before the power plant shuts down unmanned. 3 days. That's aside from somebody having some catastrophic failure and running into a transformer and shutting down grids in certain areas. That's if everything's fine and dandy in the world and everyone just stepped away from the power stations and let them do things on their own volition. 3 days they shut down. They just do. That's just how they work. So 3 days is all you have max. Depending upon your area, even less. Some are 24 hours. Some are all the way up to 3 days before the power shuts down. So that means that you better have a hose and a siphon pump to run down in there because there is no gravity, so there is no you suck on the hose, stick in your gas tank when it's down in a hole in the ground. No, you're going to have something that's going to create a little bit of gravity, so you're going to have yourself some type of a pump to pump that fuel up for you. So if you don't have anything like that to get down into those fuel tanks, then you're screwed. If you can't siphon for other vehicles, you're screwed. You can take a screwdriver, pop a hole in there, drain it out to a bucket of some sort, and pour it into your gas tank with a funnel or whatever. You can do that. It's a messy endeavor, but it can be done. If you have to. So you might be able to get enough fuel to get you there. If you get to a certain point, sometimes there's just traffic jams. I mean, people are going nuts, leaving their vehicles behind. Grabbing what they can and going. Zombies can be scattered about. So you might have to stop on the outskirts of an area that's completely piled up with a bunch of vehicles. Scope it out with your scope and see what's going on and view it. And it's like, oh well, that's kind of a dangerous situation, dangerous area. I shouldn't go over there. That's not gonna behoove me at all. So you might just kind of stick back, stay back, and then from there move forward with either trying to clear the area from afar of the zombies, and then going up and then trying to move vehicles that they can drive through, which is a very dangerous endeavor, especially if you're by yourself. If you're in a small convoy, you have several people with you, and everyone's in their own vehicles, then that's not so bad, because at that point, you have people that can get out there and get the vehicles, other people that are on Overwatch that are shooting zombies as you get into vehicles and are starting to move them about. Maybe as much as putting them in neutral and pushing them. They might not be functional. They might have wrecked into something and destroyed the engine, and you cannot. Or they may have sat in there unidled for long enough until the engine burned up all the gas and they just died. You don't know what the situation of the vehicles are going to be, so you may not get nothing. They may just be sitting there dead. So you may have to kick them into neutral, push them out of the way, make a space big enough to drive through. If in the case that you cannot, say it's in a bridge that everything kind of piles up, well, you can't get the things out of the way because they're all twisted and crunched and squished in there, and you don't have a vehicle that's strong or big enough to be able to jerk things out of the way, and you're just going to have to hoof it now. Well, now that changes the whole dynamic. That means that you better have your bug out bag ready. And you also better have plenty of food and water and other means of transporting your gear and stuff. If you have some type of a drag system, or if you have some type of a wheelied bag system or something, That would be great if you can utilize that to carry or pull your gear along, and you could just drop it and go to combat mode if necessary. That's fine and dandy. I personally don't have that, so that means I'm going to be carrying my bug out bag and a handful of stuff that's going to go in my bag. I have an old Alice pack. If you watch my zombie bug out bag video, you've seen the initial bag. I've now added extra pockets to it from an old Alice pack. I've removed and put some new Alice pockets on the outside, so I have more pockets now to compartmentalize my gear a little bit better. And one of the best things about the Alice pack is, even though it's old, it still has the quick release. You just go boom, it drops the pack right off your back, and you can be right at the ready. You have your your single point sling on your primary. You have your sidearm on your side. Potentially have a machete or something on your side, or a good knife. If you're talking about good knives, I had one right here beside me, but it seems to ran away from me. I'll show you that one here in a moment. For some reason, I moved it. I thought I stuck it right here. Oh, there it is. It was sitting on top of the bag, not in the bag. One of my buddies, Grifter6, told me about this knife. It is called the Becker BK2. I put Ranger bands on it and put the paracord on the back. Outside of that, it's just a solid plastic handle, full tang knife. This beast is thick. I mean, you could do a lot of prying with this thing. I batoned with this thing. I went out and played with it some, not as much as I'd like to, but this thing is a beast. It's a big honking knife. It comes with a really, really good edge. It's relatively sharp. If you look at it, you can see it's a little dirty. And I have taken it, set it across a small branch or so. It's about yay big around. Took another branch and beat the crap out of it, baton with it, and it didn't even touch the edge, not even a little bit. And I did that several times on purpose just to kind of get an idea for it, to see what I was playing with. And this thing is just a hoss. So if you have a good knife on your hip, that's a very important thing. Another thing is, my buddy has a saying. He says, "Buy once, cry once," which equates into don't skimp. Don't skimp on your gear. There are certain things that you just cannot skimp on. You can't skimp on your firearm. You can't skip on your blade. You can't skip on your either your bug out bag type of gear and the gear that goes into it. If it's your survival gear, you can't skimp on it. You can. I mean, you can buy cheap crap, but if something happens to the effect that you need to utilize it, then you're going to notice, oh crap, I'm cold, or this water purification, I'm getting sick. Why? Well, because you don't have a good water filter. What you have is crap. It's substandard. It's not up to par. So you're going to get waterborne pathogens and you whatever you're trying to drink. So you have to research your gear extensively. And check out some of these other folks on YouTube, like myself and Grifter6 and 2C2 and a few others. And check some of us out, because some of us have already done the legwork, done the research. Grifter6 is big into bushcrafting, and he's at the homesteader mindset. So he's all about homesteading and bushcrafting. He's all about skill over gear. You still have the gear you need, but you need to have the skill to go out there, butt naked and be able to walk out with stuff. And that's kind of his standpoint. So you gotta have your gear, and you gotta be ready to hump. You gotta be ready to walk and walk and walk and walk with a bunch of gear on your back. Now the good news is if you're carrying a bunch of food, a bunch of water, and you're walking through your stuff, well, you're gonna get lighter on ammo because you're gonna be shooting at stuff. That's a given, especially in the zombie apocalypse. The other thing is you're gonna be eating food, you're gonna be drinking water. You're gonna have to stay hydrated. Thing is you're going to have more water, a lot more water than you do food. That means a lot more weight added to you than your food's going to weigh. So you got to make sure that as you go, your pack's going to get lighter. So that's the good news anyway. But once you get to your bug out location, then your fortification begins. So that's the part that I'm willing to share currently. As I said, do responses. I want to hear this. Give me a thumbs up. And always, subscribe.